Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Chris Sneed, who, as many of you know, is an official. He said, we don't determine faking injuries. We have to assume anyone going down is hurt. This is in reference to the Texas A&M situation where they've been fined and they were penalized during the game for a player who faked an injury, and then the assistant coach who was encouraging him and telling him to fake his injury. He said, all we can do is charge a timeout and then a 5-yard delay of game if presented as injured after the ball is ready for play if they are out of timeouts. Okay, so that makes sense, right? It's hard for them to tell if somebody's faking an injury or not.
Absolutely, no question.
So that makes perfect sense. So on one hand, you almost wish that they could issue a 15-yard penalty because let's face it, if you're out of timeouts and you're in a situation where you need the clock to stop or you're trying to get the clock to stop, it's in essence, in trying to win a game, it's not the right thing to do. But I mean, it could be one of those things that could be the difference between putting you in a position to be in the playoff hunt or win a conference championship or win a big game. Maybe you're willing to sacrifice 5 yards to stop the clock.
Sure.
Yeah, but you lose the timeout.
What if
you get the 5 yards hurts. But you also you are using your timeout.
But if you're out of timeouts, you take the penalty. You see what I'm saying?
It's an or.
Chris went on to say, if you say you're hurt, it's going to cost you a timeout or 5 yards. But if you're out of timeouts and you want to just go ahead and fake the injury and take the 5-yard penalty, now it's
there would be a runoff too.
Yeah, probably some kind of runoff. But at any rate, the Aggies got fined for that.
Why do I have a feeling we know what the official's next question is going to be about?
Well, I mean, that's good. I mean, that's
as discussed on the morning drive. You can see it coming now.
We've never been referred to in that vein, so we would take that with some pride, right? I mean, he's used a couple of Rob Bro questions. Why wouldn't he use a morning drive question, right? Or comment?
I don't know. You'd have to ask him.
Yeah. All right. A couple things about Oklahoma State. First, Coach McGuire referenced in Jeff Sports Center number 20 for them. His name is Rodney Fields. He rushed for 163 yards versus Cal. That was the 5th highest single game total for a freshman. His rushing total, as well as his scrimmage yards, 190, and all-purpose yards, rank as the most for any Big 12 freshman in a game this year. Was the 3rd best single-game rushing total for a FBS freshman this season. He's second on the team in catches as well. He is an in-state kid who also had 100 yards versus Tulsa. He finished last year, he's a redshirt freshman, with 21 carries for 99 yards. So he's got some speed to him, and the cause for concern. Is it enough to make him win the game? No, but he's somebody you at least have to keep an eye on, because on any given day, anything can happen, right?
Yeah, I felt like he didn't do a great job of setting the edge defensively last week, and on a couple plays, not every time, but on a couple plays. So with a guy like that who has great speed, that's the key, in my opinion, to make sure that he doesn't get going to full speed in a hurry, where he's got a lane where he can really get going, whether that's through the middle or on the outside. So with their issues at the quarterback position, you would think, playing a wide receiver at quarterback right now, you would think that they have to lean on their run game a lot. So the Red Raiders need to be ready to slow that down.
All right, speaking of their quarterback, his name is Sam Jackson the fifth, Jamie. You don't see too many of those. You see, the seconds and thirds. You don't see very many fifths. So he's started at quarterback for Oklahoma State the past 2 games. He has also played wide receiver this year. He played quarterback at TCU and Cal and wide receiver at Auburn. That's when he played for those schools. Not like when they, I guess, right? Quarterback at Cal and TCU and wide receiver at Auburn. He's played 28 games. He went 3-0 as a starting quarterback at Cal in 2023. His career stats include 681 yards, 138 rushing, 63 receiving. He played wide receiver and quarterback in high school as well. But, yeah, I mean, they're starting to essentially a wide receiver at quarterback.
Yeah, he does have some experience at the quarterback position, but of late he had been playing the wide receiver position.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not been a complete train wreck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's a little bit there on Oklahoma State as the Red Raiders will take them on. Is your biggest enemy yourself on Saturday, do you think? Or do you even think of yourself as a big enemy since you're coming off of a loss?
I think the only thing that and I wouldn't even say use the word concerned, but I do think this is about you game. Just take care of business. Do what you're supposed to do.
Get out of there.
They don't really pose a massive challenge, obviously.
Yeah. Is this do you have an early score prediction? Is this a 66-6 game for the Red Raiders?
I don't know that I'm quite that wide, but I have not put one in my mind yet. So
okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
Do you think Joey Maguire would run the score up that much against a conference opponent?
No.
A 66-6.
No, I mean, I think it would have to.
Like, I think it would take something special to get to 50. Like, it would just you'd have to fall into it against a conference opponent.
Special? I mean, teams score 50 in this conference many a time.
But not 50-6.
Oh.
Like that, I'm talking to have that kind of margin of victory.
Okay, so halfway through the fourth quarter, we just start taking knees?
No, but you've got your third string in, and they throw a pick six against your defense type of, like, it would take. I feel like you would get to the third quarter at that point with a very hefty lead, and then be like, okay, we're just going to run the ball. We're going to take our time going up to the line.
Yeah, they're just going to run the ball, and will Oklahoma State stop it?
Mm-hmm.
I think it would take something outrageous to get 50-6 in a Big 12 game.
You know, block a punt and scoop and score, pick six, kickoff return.
See, at that point, your defense can just fall down.
Run up the middle?
Yeah.
No, I don't. I think I disagree, Jeff. I don't expect them to only score 6. I'll say that much, okay? But I think it could be in that range, 55-14 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
With this day in sports history, here is Jeff McGuire.
1939. Chuck Heinz was a very happy boy. I could see him lying on the carpet with his head on his hands, just kicking his feet back and forth. Because NBC becomes the first network to televise pro football games. The Brooklyn Dodgers beat the Philadelphia Eagles 23-14 at Brooklyn's Ebbets Field.
Yeah.
He was a very happy boy that day.
Yeah.
He could finally watch the NFL on television.
Yeah.
1960, with 2 touchdowns from Calvin Coolidge Hunt, Texas Tech earns its first Southwest Conference win. 28-7 against SMU, an opponent of its early membership.
Calvin Coolidge Hunt.
Yes.
Wow.
It's a cool name.
1966, ice hockey legend Bobby Orr scores his first career goal. This one versus the Montreal Canadiens. Fast forward to 1992. Atlanta Braves become the first American League team to win a Baseball World Series game outside of the United States. They would beat the Toronto Blue Jays 7-2 in Game 5 at Skydome in Toronto.
Well, they weren't going to have any more happy moments.
Yeah, but we all got one. And in 2011, Alex Torres catches 3 of Seth Dagy's 4 touchdown passes as Texas Tech ends number 3 Oklahoma's 39-game home winning streak, 41-38.
Nice.
We will not talk about that team again this year.
Okay.
2011 team that went to Oklahoma and won.
Right.
Yeah, we won't have to talk about them again.
Because they didn't win another game?
They didn't do another thing again, no. That was got a chance to get back to bowl eligibility and then lost the rest of the way out. It is National Nut Day.
Okay, well, sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you are. Almond Joy's got nuts, mounds don't.
You're so close. Sometimes you don't.
You don't.
So you don't. Okay, you don't. That's really kind of the story of my life. You're so close, but you're wrong.
But you got I would give you like a 95 on that paper.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you passed the class with flying colors.
Okay.
Jeff Goldblum is 73 today. Christopher Lloyd, 87. Ichiro is 52. And Robinson Cano is 43. And on this day, 1962, in a televised speech of extraordinary gravity, President John F. Kennedy announces on October 22nd, 1962, that the U.S. spy planes had discovered Soviet missile bases in Cuba. These missile sites, under construction but nearing completion, housed medium-range missiles capable of striking a number of major U.S. cities in the United States, including Washington, D.C. Kennedy announced that he was ordering a naval quarantine of Cuba to prevent Soviet ships from transporting any more offensive weapons to the island, and explained the United States would not tolerate the existence of the missile sites currently in place. The president made it clear that America would not stop short of military action to end what he called a clandestine, reckless, and provocative threat to world peace.
Wow.
If you guys don't know what this is the beginning of the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Right. Cuba is what I think he called him in that speech.
And that is this day in sports history.
This day in sports history. I've got to think that Calvin Coolidge Hunt, the young man that ran for a touchdown for Texas Tech, probably named after Calvin Coolidge, the president.
You would think so.
Calvin Coolidge, the president, did not know this about him. His nickname was Silent Cal. Okay? Silent Cal. Apparently he had a dry sense of humor that earned him that. And he was an attorney. He was a lawyer. Calvin Coolidge was. He wasn't really a guy that kind of just really stood out. Let's see here.
He did do the hunts, though.
Yeah. This from the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Good morning, guys. Listen to the baseball podcast with Davis Martin yesterday, and you can go to Double T Sports Network and click on the Talkin' Baseball podcast. This person gives it a great interview review. Really enjoyed it. Wreck-em. So if you have an opportunity today and want to get caught up on Davis Martin, you can go to doubletsportsnetwork.com and click on the Talkin' Baseball podcast. It's right there. Very easy to find, and you'll hopefully enjoy it as much as this person did.
And Davis answered my question that I long to know. When you were on the mound as a Chicago White Sox and Josh Young comes to the plate, is it just another batter, or is there something a little bit more going on? Better listen to the podcast to find out the answer. It was a great answer.
Okay.
It was a lot of fun.
Nice.
Davis is a fantastic Red Raider, very humble guy, and he's a great representative of our school.
All right. This from the Yates Flooring Center chat line off the Double T 97.3 mobile app, presented by Happy State Bank. I asked if something odd had occurred to you today. Just went to put some trash in the dumpster, and the lid was opened already. Tossed the trash bag in, and a gray fox flew out at me. I screamed like a little girl. I think we all would. I think we all would.
Make your heart stop a little bit.
No doubt. No doubt.
I think those foxes are so cool looking. We see them in our neighborhood every once in a while in the early mornings, and they're just really neat looking.
This has probably been several weeks ago. We got home, and there was one on the neighbor's house just laying there, just, relaxing. Just relaxing. Paul says this, ran into Brandon Birdsell, who was doing rehab. He said, solid dude.
Yeah, another really quality guy.
I love this. I mean, and I'm sure Chris will love this too. I mean, he is an official, and so he does the rule changes and does know the rules. With regard to the penalty for faking injuries, 5 yards doesn't seem to be enough, but Chris is correct. And so I'm glad to know that Chris is correct. I didn't have any doubt that Chris wasn't correct. But we got the copy of the rule here and the rule changes. And
well, I mean, when you very adamantly claim that For Love of the Game is not a baseball movie, you kind of lose credibility of the things that you say. So now you're forced to question every single thing that the guy says.
Oh, my God.
So, I mean, you make statements like that, they're hard to walk it back from.
This is a 2025 rule change, according to this texter. To combat the practice of feigning injuries, the Rules Committee passed a rule that if a player presents as injured after the ball is spotted by officials, that team will be charged a team timeout or delay penalty if all timeouts have been used. The player must remain out of the game for at least one down, even if that team is granted a team timeout, and may not return to the game until receiving approval of professional medical personnel designated by their institution. Okay, there you go. There you go. Glad to know. Good to know. Good to know that he's correct. I had no doubt that he's correct, but I guess that's just the way it is.
So we've all seen faking injuries right in front of us at Jones Stadium. We've seen it against game. Do we think, and we may have to take off some rose-colored glasses or Red Raider-colored glasses here, the Tech has ever faked an injury? Is there one that you've ever had that you had a question?
I would guess we have used that at times to slow down teams who are running tempo.
Yeah.
That would be my guess.
Yeah, I would.
I would be a fool to say they haven't. But I can't think of one where I was like, I don't know about that one. Mm-hmm. Where the other way, I could probably name 15 of them where it was happening to us.
Yeah.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Let's see. Because our show is piped in to the football training facility and the Womble Center, like when you walk in, it's going throughout the whole building, even into Coach McGuire's office, and that's why we get this text from one concerned fan. Stop with the negatives concerning Oklahoma State. Don't give our Texas Tech squad any reason to let up, thinking we can take these guys with one arm tied behind us. Then he gives us an LOL at the end.
Shoot. I'm supposed to talk to the team this morning. And I was basically going to tell them to quit practicing the rest of the week.
Yeah.
So you guys
go hang out with your girlfriends and your buddies.
Go head to the house. Yeah, go get on your phones.
Play some video games, stuff like that.
Go get on social media. It's way more fun, way more entertaining. Go stare at Twitter for 3 or 4 hours. That was going to be my suggestion to them. I mean, don't take the risk of, I don't know, breaking a sweat, hurting yourself, anything like that in practice. Just go get on social media. It's way more fun.
Sit in the barbershop, get yourself a shave today. Oh
yeah.
Yeah.
I think they have one in the facility,
they do.
right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Sure.
I don't know if today's barber day or not. Mm-hmm. If given the opportunity, and it was, and they just said, we want to give you a solid. We want you to experience our facility, Jamie. Would you let the official Texas Tech barber touch your lovely locks?
Absolutely.
You would?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not like I got some quaff going on here that we're like, man, you got to be the top of the top to touch this thing.
Okay.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
As long as I promise not to talk too much. It's one thing I really like about my current barber. She doesn't overtalk.
Here's your wife.
It's my wife.
She doesn't ask you a bunch of questions.
No uncomfortable conversations.
Nothing along those lines.
Like 5 minutes of zip, trim. Yeah, we're good.
She rinse your hair out for you too?
Nope.
No. She just kind of does her thing and then goes about her business. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Well. Okay. So, what Preston said, I think they acknowledged that to a pretty large degree after the game and on Monday. I mean, Mac Leftwich said he felt like he should have been a little bit more patient in the first half.
Okay, so let me first say this. I think so many times, and I think it's some people's personality. We're super high and then we're super low. Okay, on everything, and I'm not like as you guys know me, I'm kind of middle on everything. I don't usually get that high about anything. I don't get that low about anything. Mm-hmm. I mean, so many people want to act like if there is a day where the opposing coaching staff maybe wins the battle of coaches, I mean, so many people are like, we need to get rid of this coaching staff. Instead of just like a quarterback has a good day or a bad day, or a wide receiver has a day where he drops a couple balls even though he's a great receiver, right? Mm-hmm. Like the opening game of the year for CeeDee Lamb. I mean, after that game when he had, 3 drops or whatever, did any of us think CeeDee Lamb is a terrible football player?
Yeah, time for him to go.
We thought CeeDee Lamb is a great football player, but man, he had a bad night. Mm-hmm. Okay? I do think that coaches have bad days too, bad weeks. They thought they were going to go with one game plan, and it probably should have done it a little bit differently or whatever. And you've heard me say all week, I didn't. To me, Arizona State was not buying Baron Morton as the quarterback. They were ready for Will Heyman. They prepared for Will Heyman. Even if they thought there was a chance that Baron was going to play, they spent a lot of time preparing for Will Heyman. And because of that, they said, we are not going to let this kid beat us running the football. We are going to make him beat us throwing the football and throwing the football to the outside. And so I think when you looked at it, if you just looked at the, step back and see the field, you would see them defending the box a bunch with extra guys. And I think that's probably why you didn't run it as much as maybe you had in the past, because you're saying, okay, they've got extra guys in the box. We have to do something different. And I didn't feel like you made them respect the outside of the field enough, whether that be in the running game or whether that be in quick passes to the outside. No, I'm not looking for 25 yards down the field. I'm looking balls to the outside. And they didn't respect that, and you never made them do it. So a lot of times people are like, oh, we should have run the ball there. And I'm looking at the box and I'm going, no, you shouldn't have. Or you shouldn't have at least run it up the middle. Mm-hmm. I would have loved to have seen some jet sweeps, some pitches that got the guys to the outside edge. I just didn't feel like we challenged them enough that way. And so I think you still have I still think you have a really good young offensive coordinator. I think the game plan this week was maybe not his best work. Okay, it doesn't make me lose faith in him. I'm not necessarily blaming the game on him. You could have been a little bit better on the offensive line. That would have helped you get the run game going, and then you could have established something there. But a lot of times we always talk about you got to establish the run game. Well, I mean, sometimes in this situation where they're crowding the box, how about you establish the quick pass game, and then they are forced to change, right? Yeah. And so sometimes you need to establish the passing game. You need to establish something else to set up the run game. It doesn't always have to be run game first. And I just didn't feel like we made a great adjustment to their what they were doing defensively, basically saying we're not going to let Will Hammond beat us up the middle. And the Red Raiders never forced them to come out of that defensive look. And
in a way, you let them dictate the ball game with how they were able to stymie your offense. I mean, you were never really in control.
No, I mean, you were in control when you got in desperation time, and that was the thing. I mean, Will made some big passes there and all the above. I mean, it felt like to me that Texas Tech was saying, we got a great defense that can hold Arizona State down, which they ultimately did for the most part, and we are not going to let Will Hammond passing the football be the reason we lose this game. And so they made sure there weren't a lot of things that were risky with Will. Meanwhile, at Utah, I mean, he's throwing risky passes all over the place, and our offense is on fire.
Zinging it, yeah.
Yeah, he was great. I'm not saying that always worked, but it worked then. So it just looked like we changed our game plan a little bit with a backup quarterback and an inexperienced quarterback, which I totally understand and totally get, and that totally makes sense to me. Looked like Arizona State was ready for it, the different game plan, and it just didn't ever feel like we made them change out of their defensive alignment to put any pressure on them.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3 is brought to you by Connecticut of West Texas.
All right, gentlemen, pretty simple question for you here. I think I know Jeff's answer, but I could be wrong.
Do you think you know mine?
Nope.
Okay.
2 games remaining on the schedule scare me. Okay, the other 3 I feel very confident with. Okay? OSU at home, UCF at home, West Virginia on the road. I feel really good about your chances in those games.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? The other 2 games. On the road at Kansas State and home against BYU. Which one scares you the most?
The one that's in my head that scares me the most is Kansas State, just because it's been a den of demons, all those things. I mean, none of those guys from the past are playing in this game. You've got the better team. Feels like that you've got the – it doesn't feel like. I mean, you have the better defense. Feels like that your defense can certainly stop their offense, which has struggled at times. They don't have the dangerous, typical Colin Klein kind of K-State quarterback that runs Bananarama all over the place. But the one that should, I think, scare all of us because of their ability and what they can do on the field, which is kind of where it all is BYU. And that's November the 8th, especially with how they handled Utah this past weekend. I realize it was a home game for them, but it feels like Utah's getting better. So I'm going to say BYU is the game that scares me the most.
I don't know exactly where Bananarama is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But Avery Johnson is a more explosive, dynamic runner than any Colin Klein.
I know, but those guys were sneaky.
You do remember him scoring 5 touchdowns on the ground against us, right?
Yeah, I know.
Am I remembering that right?
Yeah.
5?
Yeah, we made him look like a Heisman Trophy winner.
Yeah.
But
Heisman Trophy winning running back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the K-State quarterbacks of the past have always been kind of sneaky, with their – I mean, with Avery Johnson, you know that he's that way, and you should be able to stop him because you know what he is. The K-State quarterbacks of the past, it just feels like they were sneaky fast and sneaky good.
And he's just outwardly fast.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. Okay. I think your guys are going to get to him because he's not as doesn't seem like he's as big as the other guys.
He's not physical.
Yeah.
Yes. No question.
So you hit him and knock him out of the game, and then you don't have to worry about him.
I'm this close, and my fingers aren't very far apart from relaxing on the Kansas State thing. Every time I think that I'm ready to walk away from Kansas State as it being the den of demons and the horror and the Frankenstein's monster combined with Dracula put together to kill us all in October with Halloween coming up, they show a little sign of life. So I'm this close to not having Kansas State be the de facto answer to this. I'm a little worried about BYU at this point, depending on what your quarterback situation is. and how your offensive play calls goes with that. Some of this is an overreaction to Saturday, because that offense, if it shows up again on this Saturday, I might be a little worried about Oklahoma State. I mean, not a lot worried, but all of a sudden that game isn't as dominant as it should be. BYU's the right answer, and that's what I'm going to go with. But you just keep waving that little Kansas State flag at me, and I'm like, I'm scared. What I got?
Okay, that's a surprise to me.
You thought he was going to say K-State?
I thought he was going to say Kansas State. I am Kansas State's the one I'm the most worried about. Okay? I don't think you guys are crazy for your... No, they're not the same players. We get that. But the truth of the matter is, it's hard to win at Kansas State because of the atmosphere that they have there. Now, obviously, their teams have had a lot to do with it, and this team is not as good. But it's a place that you haven't had a lot of success. And so while again, the players, the teams, they're different each year, all the above, I have a harder time thinking with BYU being a highly ranked opponent and all the above that you are not going to have a raucous crowd and an amazing atmosphere here and a team that is geeked up and motivated to play that game. And I worry more about on the road at Kansas State, which is not as good of a team as you, but when you play there, that levels the playing field, and you just don't know what's going to happen. Yeah. I do think you're way more talented than, but I'm more nervous about Kansas State than BYU.
What we can hope for is, and you're going to scoff at this, is an 11 a.m. kickoff, which I'm not usually a fan of, but on the road, probably better. It's Halloween the night before. A bunch of people will be still hungover Saturday morning. The kids will be crashing from their sugar high, clamoring for more Halloween candy. And potentially people will just be worn slick by the time it gets to 11, and their noise factor won't be quite as much as a factor for the ball game.
So
Halloween is the night before.
Halloween is
the 31st.
Thank you, Chuck.
God, I wish you guys could have seen the look on Jamie's face right there. It was the typical 16-year-old teenage girl. Thank you, Chuck.
Halloween is typically a night where we get hammered.
Oh yeah, it's a big adult party night. Absolutely. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, especially on a Friday
parties.
night.
There's parties for sure, and if it's your Friday night.
Oh no, there'll be
more parties Friday night.
Yeah, I would imagine at a college campus. Yes, I didn't know that was an adult night to get.
Yeah, you got a lot of adults that are getting their drink on after they put.
Halloween night more times than not is in the middle of the week.
Yeah, but usually at the weekend before.
Oh, the weekend before. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Bullfighter thought the kids didn't get sugar highs. Well, no. I had a little, situation with the Phenoms the other night. I was unsupervised, and I overserved them on their ice cream, and so it took a little bit more of a challenge to get them to bed than normal. But that was on me because they had more ice cream than what they normally get, and then they got the chocolate shell kind of stuff on top of the ice cream. So there was.
Oh, so you got it out of the refrigerator?
No, it was not. It was not put in the refrigerator. I was reminded not to put that in the refrigerator, which I did not.
So proud of you.
Jonathan says this: as an Uber driver, you wouldn't believe the stuff I see Halloween night. Wild. Okay.
Yeah, as an adult, Halloween has turned into how little clothes you can wear, and that's not as enjoyable as the candy when I was a kid.
Okay.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
With Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire, I'm Chuck Heinz. We come to you from the First United Bank studio. Thoughts, comments, we'll continue to take them on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Visual Edge IT hotline at 2 is open, 806-771-0973. I'm going to assume that if you're involved in this, you probably know this, but just in case, because there's many a time when your kids come home from school and they do the old, oh, by the way, of an event that's changed, or something that all of a sudden is now tonight as opposed to tomorrow night, or something along those lines. So just in case you don't know, the Lubbock Cooper football game has been moved to tomorrow night in Wichita Falls against Memorial. They're anticipating some inclement weather there, so they're just trying to get ahead of it a little bit. So our coverage tomorrow will be at 5:30 on 100.7 The Score, the kick at 6. But it also affects other games as well, Jamie. Sub-varsity football games, the freshman team will play at 4 today, and the sub-varsities as well as at 5:30 there at Wichita Falls Memorial. The JV team is also going to be in action at 4:15 today. That will be at the Pirates' place over at Lubbock Cooper. So just kind of keep that in mind in case you didn't get the memo. Because that happens from time to time, right? You get home and kid kind of hands you a piece of paper from like 3 days ago. It's like, oh, this is tonight? Thank you for letting me know.
Okay.
Right? I mean, that happens from time to time, from the kids that aren't, as organized or whatnot. I hesitate in telling you this observation, but because it makes me sound... That makes me sound old, okay? Just a general observation of today's youth. Their sense of urgency doesn't seem to be very high. Just my observation of some tennis matches over the last few days. Just seems to be like, come on, let's go. Let's get after it. And sometimes the coordination of hitting a ball to somebody, not just across the net, but just like, when a ball goes from one court to another, or just the ability to catch the ball or something like that. And I was telling the lucky lady this yesterday. I'm like, their coordination is just awful. And their sense of urgency is just, it's not there. And I cited it to this. This was my thinking. And feel free, people on the Yates Flooring Center chat line that have middle school kids, grade school kids, high school kids. I cite the lack of coordination, lack of hustle, lack of urgency to not playing street ball, not playing backyard sports as young kids, and just being able to simply catch or hit the ball.
Being an athlete or being athletic is just like anything else. If you're going to be good at it, you got to work at it.
Right.
Even the simple things like tossing and catching a ball barehanded or whatever, if you don't do it very often, you're not going to be great at it. I can remember a time when, my daughter, who is a decent tennis player, I can remember tossing her balls when we're sitting there working on her serve, and I'm sitting with the basket, and she's there hitting serves. And after she would hit one, I would toss one to her, and it felt like she could only catch about 1 out of 3. Now, she could swing her racket the right way and hit a great serve and hit a good forehand and all the above.
Yeah.
And I can remember one particular coach saying to me, "Why can your daughter not catch the ball?" That's not what we're worried about. We don't require her to catch it in tennis. We require her to hit it back.
But man, I just watching some of these kids just trying to hit the ball like if it just when they're just hitting it over to their opponent, to the point is lost or won. I mean, just like hit the ball over the net, hit it to them, maybe it's just 7th grade boys. I don't know. It just seemed to me like, man, our coordination here is just not very good. Our lack of hustle here is just not very. I wanted to go out there and scream at all of them, move, but I'm not allowed to do that.
Go over to the stands and scream at all of them.
The parents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, kids don't rise to low expectations.
Yeah.
Expect certain things of your kids.
Yeah. You're right.
And they will rise up.
Yeah.
They do what they can get away with. And if you expect, whether it be their academics or their athletics or their whatever, if you put high expectations on them, they will, for the most part, more times than not, live up to those expectations. Yeah. But if you don't require them to do certain things, they're not going to do it on their own.
Yeah.
Okay? So I'm not saying it makes them bad kids or anything like that. It doesn't. But if you again, you push them, that they need to be pushed. And people, Chuck likes to joke with me that I yell and scream at my kids. I don't. They know what the expectations are.
This common phrase in our family, walk with purpose. And then I see...
there you go. That's a good one.
Yeah.
I like it.
Last night I had... I went to this Meet the Professionals night that's held every year by a friend of mine. And, you get an opportunity to talk to the young minds at Texas Tech. And I gave them pieces of advice about, owning the room and working the room and speaking with confidence, even if you're not,
Those are two things that you nailed, man. You absolutely nailed. You own every room that you are in. There is no question. If Chuck is there, everybody knows he's there. And you definitely are confident, even if you're not.
Even if you're not. I told them
that makes you good on the radio.
I told them they needed to learn how to sell something, whether it's themselves or a product, and encourage them all to find something. My parting shot with one group was, hey, and this comes from a former boss of ours. Hey, find something that you really enjoy to do and get somebody to pay you to do it. And I still think that's good advice. Chuck, you would make a good JV offensive line coach. They are fun to watch when they get mad.
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.